Welcome back to Mad Time. I am Daniel Tension, joined as always with my good friend Zach Sayre. How you doing tonight, Zach?
I'm doing great, Daniel. How you doing, sir?
Doing wonderful. Doing a little new thing tonight. We are doing our new segment called Coach's Corner. We've kicked this around for a while, but we thought this was a great night to do it because there's a lot of confusion. If you look around the interwebs about what's going on this Sunday after the regionals. So got a very special guest here to help clear that up. So I think we'll just go ahead and get into it. We're joined tonight by the Hall of Famer, the legendary, and a return guest, Coach Bill Archer. How you doing tonight, Coach?
What's happening, man?
It's always great to talk to you. You're always full of very entertaining stories for sure. And I wish we could sit here and talk about all the wonderful things. But as you know, you're on that coaches committee, and this is the first year that we're actually going to separate 1 and 2 in the state. Now, there's a lot of confusion out there. A lot of people think this is going to happen to every single bracket, and that's just not the case. Am I right?
Not exactly. Yep.
So basically, can you just walk us through the process of kind of the quote-unquote criteria for a weight class, according to the coaches committee, including yourself and others, to actually redraw the pill for that weight class?
All right. Well, I was first on the coaches committee, I think, in 1976, and I think in about 77, I proposed we separate 1 and 2. So I guess my political prowess is not very good.
What do you mean you got it done, Coach? It just took a shade under 50 years.
Yeah, but, well, anyway, and I guess the best way to explain it is the Olympics used to not seed at all.
Right.
And that they did what was called at that time a black mark system. It ended up, they said that wasn't a good way to do it, so they did a good point system. But anyway, what would happen is it would just be a completely random draw. Just whoever you put in, you put in.
Right.
And what would happen a lot of times, and there surprisingly wasn't that many nations at that time. So if you were the number one guy, you might start at, well, the worst would be if you were supposed to get the bronze medal and be third, and you would draw the number one guy first, then you would draw the number 2 guy, you would be put out.
Yeah.
Because you got beat twice, and you'd have 6 points by getting decisions, and you would be out.
Right. You'd just be done, and you had the 1 and 2 right out the gate.
The United States forever argued because, we always seeded everything. And so eventually now they have a ranking system, and that is not supposed to happen. So that's the way it used to be. So they went through a bunch of changes, and actually what happened was they used to put the brackets out like they did basketball, and it would be in the interscholastic, and when you got it, it would already be drawn, and you would see that if you were 1, that 2 or 3 or 4 would be in your bracket.
Right. You could work the system.
Yeah, you could definitely game the system in that scenario, yeah.
This would be in November.
So yeah. That's plenty of time to game it.
It was alleged that someone got second in the region by nefarious means.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had drawn the bracket with a state champion, and the other bracket would have been better or easier.
Mm-hmm.
So after we heard about it, Coach Gardner and I were then on the committee from John Marshall, and he came up with drawing the now dreaded pill, I understand.
I love the pill, Bill. I love it. It's
but
my
anyway,
favorite.
and also, of course, not to put it out ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's the key.
So they quit putting the brackets out, and of course, they've since now seeded basketball, but they would put the basketball pairings too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it came about, and of course, that's why it's kind of not announced. They usually, Mr. Dolan calls me, or Mr. Ryan, or Mr. Trimbush, or Mr. Ray, or whoever would do it. They call me on the way back from the regional sometimes, and they'd say, "Bill, it's pill 3." And of course, they would always come up with that I knew it ahead of time, and everybody knows it, and all that stuff. And
right. But no one did. Right.
But he would usually call me, and a lot of times I'd be going back from Milton, Barbersville,
mm-hmm.
or having to ourselves. So they give us that, and then I would call, used to be Doc, and then I call Jenny,
mm-hmm.
and I would say, "Jenny, it's pill 2, 3, 1, or whatever." And he never, ever told me early.
Right.
And I don't think.
Right. And then once people found out, maniacs would make brackets and post them in about 15 minutes to be shared on everybody in Facebook and Instagram. And
so
now
that's the way it was. So when I have proposed at every coaches meeting, I've been to, I think it's 46 coaches meetings in a row, and you're supposed to have term limits, but I get to go because I've directed the state for 40 years.
4 more years, Bill.
Oh yeah, well, whatever. So anyway, I always got a kick out. They said, "No doubt it'll be pill 3, no doubt it'll be pill 2, no doubt it'll be pill 1." And I'd go, "Mr. Ryan just had his wife drawn."
Yeah, 33% chance, folks.
30, But anyway, so it has always been unfair. Everybody that says it's not unfair, well, let's just say that it can be unfair by the way it's drawn, but it's kind of like saying that the Olympics should go back to the old way of doing it. But it's not good to have the bronze medalists and the silver medalists and the gold medalists wrestle the first 2 matches and get eliminated from the tournament.
I agree with that. I agree with what you're saying.
And sometimes when it's unbelievably bad, let's use an example. I think I saw that Mr. Carmen's son was rated 30th or something in the NCAA, and Zane Lanham has already won the NAI National Championship.
Correct.
Well, those guys don't belong wrestling the semifinals.
Right.
And that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I would propose it kind of every year in different ways, and every time they would just not do it. And to be honest, I think sometimes the coaches thought that, hey, sometimes I get the draw and I'm the third best guy and I'm in the bracket by myself and the other 2 guys are in the bottom
mm-hmm.
together. So
yeah, you get this.
that's cool. I get in the finals.
Right, to lose.
So that probably was what some said, but I think a lot of them just said, "Nah, let's just leave it to the luck of the draw." So we complained about it so much that Mr. Ryan and Mr. Dolan said, "Coach, if we don't get this done this time, I'm tired of hearing it." And I had proposed all kinds of different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, a lot of times in West Virginia, they don't know what you should do. There are 49 other states, or as Obama would say, 43. So I ask other states what they do, call a lot of the guys, see what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And it used to be there was almost no one exceeded ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there are some states like Robbie's roommate won the NCAA championship, and New York used to have 512 schools and only one class.
Mm.
Yeah.
Matter of fact,
I like that.
Matter of fact, his roommate Mitch Clark came down for Rob's wife's funeral, and I'll remind him about it. He won the national championship, but he never won the state of New York.
That is kind
That's
of
pretty
ironic.
crazy, isn't it?
That's ironic. So what kind of
see,
criteria are you guys going to use to determine if there is a 1 and 2 in that weight class?
Well, I saw somebody put something on there, and then there was about 4 or 5 paragraphs of how they disagreed with it. First off, let's go by how it's going to be done. And I think I know who's going to do it, but let me tell you how I think. First off, number one is we have to go by what the vote was. The vote was not to seed the state tournament.
Right.
It was to separate 1 and 2.
If 1 and 2 exist, separate them.
That's correct. So the answer to that question is, you're asking me how you do it. I've seen different criteria on there that they're saying they're going to use, but the way we're going to do it, according to what I see, is we're going to separate the guys from the double A, single A, and triple A, and tell them we have to do the same thing, and we're going to write the criteria that we're going to use for separating 1 and 2 at the state tournament, and we're going to use what they call the hybrid pill.
Right.
It had been proposed before, and I've proposed it before, and Mr. Ryan brought it up again, and somehow it just passed. And that's fine with me, but we have done numerous different kind of things. They've said all kinds of stuff, but this time we're separating 1 and 2 if they exist.
If they exist,
So,
right.
I don't think I'm leaving it up to the coaches committee to make it up, but I would say it's not so far off of what they have posted, but it's not that hard to separate 1 and 2.
Well, my argument's always been this really comes down to 2 and 3. If 3 is super close to 2, how do you argue one's better than the other if they haven't wrestled?
Well, we have you see the criteria there.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, at the WSAC, we seat 12.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you. But again, you're talking to a Pill fan, Coach. I'm a Pill fan. Like it.
Like I said, I just don't want somebody to be cursed.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a way to avoid what was happening. When I've been to everything, there's nobody that's been to every single rules meeting except me.
Mm-hmm.
So you know a
And
thing
I've
or two.
made more rules than Biden about balloons.
I hear you.
Okay, so and because things that come up. So with that in mind, the coaches can figure that out, and if there is something that's close, then I would say, well, you didn't say anything about the pill for 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'm with you.
Yeah,
So
that
they'll
is-
hash it out.
And that is
So currently
so
the coaches, basically Sunday after regionals, you're all going to get together. The coaches are going to get their discussion on, set their kind of criteria for it. And then if we need to, a few weight classes will redraw the pill.
and the way it'll be done is and it doesn't really matter whether you draw the pill first or after you do it.
Right. Oh, right. I agree.
So I'm not going to say, like I said, I'm going to ask the coaches what they want to do. It's the coaches committee, and I'm on it because I'm the director of the state tournament. And I usually don't even vote, and I usually don't even say anything unless they ask me for a point of reference,
Mhm.
like what happened in 1983. Then I can tell them. But that's the plan. So let's say we're drawing the pill before or after. But anyway, the groups, there's somebody from every region, and they're drawing they're going to do it, and I think they will finish in 15 minutes.
Oh, I agree. It won't take long.
Should be.
It won't.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. It would be a pretty quick
Listen,
process.
I've already said I think there's only, I'd say 3 weight classes where I would argue that there's definitely 1 and 2, and everybody else is far away. A lot of this is really tight. There's 3, maybe 4 classes I think this will happen to. That's my bold prediction right here on the 15th. 4 to max.
Okay, if someone says, well, how do you break a tie?
Arm
The
wrestle.
answer, the final thing is the coaches vote.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
Double A won't be voting on the AAA, and the AAA won't be voting on the Double A. And you would be surprised if you, because like I said, I've been to all kinds of them, and most people don't like to look like a fool.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go in and say something that's crazy, it won't work. And the guys in the region know the guys, and if they said, well, everybody should come get to represent their own school. Okay, let's say that. So there's 76 coaches there, depending on how many qualify for the state. And the Activities Commission does not like us have us come there and not give us mileage reimbursement. Okay?
That's a lot of money, yeah.
Yeah, so they're pretty tight.
Mm-hmm.
But
No.
that's kind of have one guy come for a guy that's 6th in the region, might be, was 6th in the region or 4th in the region, and he's going to argue for seats. So there'd be a lot of people that are there that don't need to be. But I think we all voted that we don't need the reimbursement, So, but I just wanted to keep from doing snipes. I didn't want to have. I just don't like that because you can't see everybody's face. And I said the first time, let's do it there. And I'm still scared they may call and say they're going to do it. But I think we can do it, and it's just better to go like that. And you're just with the guy the whole day before, the coach, if you need to ask something.
Right.
And it's
Yeah, tell your representative. Yeah.
So that's I can't see in the coaches committee. To be honest, I'm always proud of them because I look out there and there's all these young guys that are like I used to be, that want to do what's right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to be very hard. And like I said, and everybody's arguing about the ratings that are there. I haven't asked Jenny, but when I did the West Virginia Wrestler newspaper, we had ratings. And those guys would never call me and tell me nothing.
Right. It's not enough feedback, and the results, you don't see everybody. There's a lot going on there. It's the eye test.
I bet Jenny does it by herself.
Oh, I mean, there's some feedback on the coaches, but yeah, she does most of it.
Yeah, she takes care of a lot of it.
She does most of it. Yeah, it's a lot of the eye test, but so that's some clarity at least. I know what's going on.
Don't know the guys all around the state, and people do stuff, and also she gets kind of upset with it. She kind of ignores it, but there's a lot of guys on West Virginia Matt that like to say stuff and criticize people, and that turns a lot of people off. A lot of people tell me they don't get on it anymore.
Oh, I'm one of them.
I'm used to. We always have guys that can do the WSAZ better than me, and so I'm always glad to hear it. But I always wonder how with 1,625 guys and 400 coaches, I'm supposed to keep the floor clear.
Mm. Yeah.
I got to do.
Good luck.
Yeah. But and 12 mats, of course.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's rolling. It's a beautiful thing. Well, Coach, we certainly appreciate you coming on and clearing that up for us. So we look forward to hearing from you Sunday then, and we'll have all the official brackets for the state tournament.
Robert's going to be there. Him and I are going together. He lives right around the corner, and he tells me that he thinks he can get it on pretty quick. So I guess maybe he's going to put it on the West Virginia mat, but let's hope we have it. But I am sure one thing, I'm sure we will do it wrong.
No doubt.
Oh yeah, somebody will definitely have something to say, but
no doubt.
But you know, like you said, you're there trying to do the right thing, and you know, people I feel like should kind of lay off because, like I said, it's an attempt for you guys to you know, make things a little more proper, and you know, maybe down the line there will be another adjustment that makes it a little bit, you know, quote unquote better. But you got to start somewhere though, and you know, I think you guys deserve a lot of applause for you know, making this step in the right direction away from the pill that so many people you know, hated more or less. So
not me.
Well, I'm glad you guys are trying to clarify things, but as long as we don't have any COVID pills, any skin disease, or anything else that I caused.
You won't cause it. You're doing the right things. We got the break in between. Now we got it seated. Hey, we're just a few days away from just being left to do is just wrestle it.
Yep. Yeah, we're almost there.
All right. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you in Huntington.
All right. We'll see you then, boys.
Have a good one.
Thank you, Coach. You have a great evening. All right.
All right. Bye.
It was good to get some clarity from Coach Archer there.
Yeah, very good.
So pretty much like we talked about before, it's not going to be every weight class. It's only 1 and 2 if it exists.
Where needed.
Which isn't many, I bet.
I'm kind of in the same boat with that.
Which isn't many.
I'm kind of in the same boat with that. So.
There's a couple in there that you can probably argue, like 1, 2, and 3, and 2 and 3 are from the same region. So maybe that can be an argument, which I can see.
A lot of that will be sorted out through the regional tournament.
Right. Well, then you argue okay, if they're 1 and 2 and he just beat 3, they're definitely 1 and 2 next week.
So maybe that applies. Makes
right, but like I said, I bet you I'm going to still say 4 or less. But hey, thanks for joining us for the first ever Coach's Corner. I'm still Daniel Tinch.
And I'm Zach Sue.
Have a great one, folks.